Good afternoon, students. Welcome in our SST class. Today we are going to start a new chapter, okay? That is class 7 history, chapter 9, the making of regional cultures, okay? So in this chapter we are going to study about regional cultures, okay? We understand the relation between language and region, okay? So here first topic you can see over here, the Cheras and the development of Malayalam. Okay, but before that we will know that we usually associate region in India with a distinctive set of customs and a particular kind of language, food and clothing. Okay, and the development of this regional culture is a result of a complex process of intermingling of people's ideas and tradition over time, isn't it? Actually, this is a mixing, we can say mix of ideas, customs and also the social behavior of people or a group of people. In this way we can say that it is a complex process. Okay, so some traditions are specific to a region while some traditions can be found in many areas. Now some traditions develop from older practices whereas taking a new form over time. Now here in this chapter first you can see we will take an example, okay, of this connection between language and region. First we will study about the Cheras and the development of Malayalam. Okay, Malayalam is a language and whereas Cheras is the dynasty. Okay, Chera dynasty. Here the Cheras means the dynasty of Cheras who ruled over Chera kingdom of Mahodayapuram. Okay, so you can see the Chera kingdom of Mahodayapuram was established in the 9th century in the southwestern part of peninsula. Now present day it is in Kerala. Okay, that is the southern part in Kerala. So here Malayalam was spoken in this area. Regional language was Malayalam, okay, in Kerala. And the rulers introduced the Malayalam language and script in their inscriptions. Okay, in their inscriptions, the rulers, that is the Chera rulers, they introduced the Malayalam language and script in their inscriptions. In fact, this is one of the earliest example of the use of a regional language in official records in the subcontinent. Okay, so this is one of the earliest example. Okay, remember this, children. Now at the same time, the Cheras also drew upon Sanskritic traditions. So here we can also found Malayalam language as well as a touch of Sanskritic tradition. Okay, Sanskrit. Now the temple theatre of Kerala, which is traced to this period, borrowed some story from the Sanskrit epics. And the first literary works in Malayalam, which is dated to about 12th century, are directly indebted to Sanskrit. Interestingly enough, a 14th century text, that is, what is the name? Leela Tilakam. Okay, this is very important, children, you must remember. Leela Tilakam was actually a book, okay, a textbook, and it deals with grammar and poetics. It was composed in Manipravalam. Now what is Manipravalam? It's a language, okay. Literally it means diamonds and corals, okay, which refer to the two languages. What are the two languages? Sanskrit and the regional languages, okay. So Leela Tilakam here was a book which deals with grammar and poetics and it composed in which language? Manipravalam, okay. And literally this Manipravalam was known as diamonds and corals. Okay, diamonds means here Sanskrit, whereas corals means here the regional language of Kerala. What is that? Yes, that is Malayalam. Okay, Malayalam. Okay, so this topic is very important. Okay, question might come from this. Write a short note on Leela Tilakam, or what is the significance of Leela Tilakam. Okay, then you have to write those things. Clear, children? Now next we are coming another topic, that is rulers and religious traditions. Okay, rulers and religious traditions. Okay, here you can see regional cultures grew around religious traditions. Okay, and the best example of this process is the cult of Jagannath. Okay, everyone knows, all of you know, children, Jagannath temple. Okay, Literally, Lord of the World is the name for Vishnu, okay, God Vishnu, at Puri, Odisha, okay. Today, the local tribal people, they make the wooden image of the deity, means God, which suggests that the deity was originally a local god who was later identified with Vishnu. You can see, children, I have drawn the picture over here. That means the icons of Balbhadra, okay, Subhadra and Jagannath, okay, God and goddesses. They are brother and sister. You know very well, that is in Puri, Odisha, okay. And it was actually a wooden image, okay. This wooden image was made by whom? The local tribal people of Odisha, okay. Now you can see next part. In the 12th century, one of the most important rulers of Ganga dynasty, that is Anantavarman, dedicated to erect a temple for Purushottama Jagannath at Puri. Okay, so this king Anantavarman decided to erect a temple, to build a temple for Jagannath at Puri. So in 1230, King Ananga Bhima III or third dedicated his kingdom to the deity, to the god, and proclaimed himself as the deputy of God, okay, to serve God. Next, now as the temple, okay, you can see here the picture of temple of Odisha, okay, Jagannath temple in Puri. Okay, it's given in your book also, children. Now, as the temple gained importance as a center of pilgrimage, okay, its authority in social and political matter also increased too much. And all those who want to conquer Odisha, such as the Mughals, the Marathas, and the English East India Company, that is the Britishers, attempted to gain control over the temple. All of them wanted to gain control over this temple. Why? Because they felt that this would make their rule to make their rule acceptable to the local people. Clear? Okay. Next part you can see the Rajputs and the traditions of heroism. Okay. Now in the 19th century, the region that constitute most of the present-day Rajasthan was Rajputana, okay, which was called by the British. And while this may suggest that this was an area that was inhabited only or mainly by Rajputs, but this is only partly true. This is not fully true, because there were other several groups also, or communities, who identify themselves as Rajputs in many other areas, that is of northern and central India. And of course, there are several peoples other than Rajputs who live in Rajasthan. So, however, the Rajputs are often recognized as contributing to the distinctive culture of Rajasthan. Okay, so they are actually they are referred as heroic. You know, they have this courage, so much courage, and they are popular for their bravery. Okay, so these cultural traditions were closely linked with the ideals and aspirations of the rulers, Rajput rulers. And from about the 8th century, most of the present-day state of Rajasthan was ruled by various Rajput families. Like for example, Prithviraj Chauhan, okay, was one such ruler. These rulers cherished the ideal of hero who fought valiantly, often choosing death on the battlefield rather than facing defeat. Okay, so they were so brave, and their ideals, okay, what they said that we will suppose if they lose the battlefield means if they face this defeat in the battlefield, still they will not surrender. Okay, they want to choose death but not to surrender. Okay, so stories about the Rajput heroes were recorded in poems and songs, which were recited by specially trained minstrels, and these preserved the memories of heroes and were expected to inspire other people to follow their example of bravery. Okay, now ordinary people were also attracted by these stories, and which often depicted dramatic situations and a range of strong emotions: loyalty, friendship, love, valor, anger, etc. Okay, and children, women, okay, the Rajput princess or the queen, they also were remembered for their bravery. Okay, because they figure as the cause for conflict and as men who fought with one another to either win or protect the women's. And women were also depicted as following their heroic husband. They also follow their brave husband, this Rajput princess. And there are stories about the practice of sati. You know very well what is the meaning of sati practice, okay? Sati pratha, yes. And the immolation of widows on the funeral pyre of their husband, okay? So after the death of their husband, the women are also, means the widows, they are forced to die on the funeral pyre of their husband, okay? So which was a very evil act or practice, which was stopped by Raja Ram Mohan Roy, okay? You people have studied, I think. So those who followed the heroic ideal had to pay for it with their lives, okay? So this thing is clear, children, the Rajputs and the tradition of heroism. Next is beyond regional frontiers, that is the story of Kathak. You can see over here a girl, a Kathak dancer, right? She is in a dancing pose, okay? Now Kathak, now associated with several parts of North India, isn't it? So the term Kathak, what is the meaning of this term Kathak? Kathak, this word is derived from the word Katha, okay? The word used in Sanskrit and the other languages for story. Katha means what? Story, okay? So the Kathaks were originally a caste of storytellers in temples of North India, who embellish their performance with gestures and songs, okay? That means Kathak means a type of dance which is telling something about, you know, a story, okay? A storyteller in dance pose. So through this dancing, they are depicting a story. So Kathak began evolving into a distinct mode of dance in the 15th and 16th centuries with the spread of Bhakti movement. Okay, the legends of Radha Krishna were enacted in folk plays called Ras Leela. Right, children, you have seen the picture like Radha Krishna in a dancing way, a dancing picture. Okay, that is known as Ras Leela. Okay, so which combine the folk dance with the basic gestures of Kathak storytellers. So under the Mughal emperors and their nobles, Kathak was performed in the court, okay, of the Mughal emperors, where it acquired its present features and developed into a form of dance with a distinctive style, you know, different style, and subsequently developed in two traditions or gharanas, okay. Two gharanas are there. First is, you can see in the court of Rajasthan, that is Jaipur Gharana, and the other one that is in Lucknow, that is Lucknow Gharana. Okay, so under the patronage of Wajid Ali Shah, the last Nawab of Awadh, this Kathak dance grew into a major art form. Okay, it became so famous, so popular under the patronage of Wajid Ali Shah. Okay, now by the third quarter of the 19th century, it was firmly entrenched as a dance form not only in the two regions. Okay, it was not only popular in the two regions, but it also became so popular in the present day Punjab, Haryana, Jammu Kashmir, Bihar and Madhya Pradesh. Okay, now Kathak was emphasis was given mainly on the rapid footwork, elaborate costumes and well as on the enactment of stories. Okay, so these are the basic things in Kathak dance. Now Kathak, like several other cultural practices, was viewed with disfavor by the British administrators. Okay, the Britishers, they didn't like this dance form and they call it as old and primitive, and it's valueless. Okay, they are actually disfavoring, they are discouraging this dance form, that is Kathak. Okay, in the 19th and 20th centuries, however, it survived, but still it survived and continued to be performed by the courtesans. Okay, that is the artist, and recognized as one of the 6 classical forms of dance in the country after independence. Okay, still it survived and still its popularity is there in our country. And what are the other dance forms that are recognized as classical dance at present are Bharatnatyam, that is from Tamil Nadu. Next is Kathakali, that is from Kerala. Odissi, that is in Odisha. And Kuchipudi from Andhra Pradesh. And Manipuri, that is from Manipur. Okay, children. So these are the types of, classical dancers. Okay, so here we have covered all the topics, okay, which are in part 1. You can see the Cheras and the development of Malayalam, rulers and religious traditions, the Rajputs and the traditions of heroism, okay, and the story of Kathak. The story of Kathak, you have understood how it evolved, okay, how it grew so popular, and the story of Rajput rulers we have studied over here, okay, and also the rulers and religious traditions, okay. That is, first of all, we have studied here about the Chera dynasty and how the language, that is Malayalam and Sanskrit traditions, we have studied over here. And next we have studied about the Odisha, right? First of all, we have studied from Kerala, then we have studied from Odisha, right? And Rajputs, that is from Rajasthan, okay? So we have covered all this topic here. I hope this video concept is clear to all of you. So thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you, children.